Went from being a doctor to a film director, which is such a big shift.
I mean, I come from very different backgrounds and what I've done and everything. And if you're doing anything else,
It's a waste.
I walked into the wrong class. And I didn't know until 3 weeks later.
Theater for biology students?
Yeah. Like theater for like the science
Okay.
kids, basically. It's
I can smell it.
study, get the good grades, and like, move on. That's the feeling that I love, is I just let go.
Did you cry in the mall?
No one is seeing what I'm going through. No one's feeling what I'm feeling.
Yeah, it feels like you're on autopilot and there's no spontaneity and fun and it doesn't like make your blood go.
Now with AI and all these things happening with a click of a button, it really brings the skill back to the creative. Oh, I love what you're doing. I follow you.
Aww.
It's awesome. Go live your dream. Because it's one of those movies that's so creative. In every shot they have and in the storytelling, I would go act in a student short film from like 9 p.m. to like 3 a.m. Even from the outside, you're saying your son is a doctor and you're happy, but is your son happy? My theater classes became something I was so excited to do because it was somewhere I could like energize. In one of the plays, I like suggested to do something. He's like, oh, perfect. Yeah, do that. I was like, wait,
I can just do stuff?
yeah. Anything you're kind of passionate about and you actually like to do when you don't have to do it. That's the stuff that kind of is going to keep you motivated and like energized in the morning and going after life and things like that.
And sometimes it takes somebody that you're not very close to
Exactly.
to tell you that, you know?
Like, the movie's ridiculous. You watch it and you're like, what? I watched it like 6 times.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Press Pause with Jouhayna. On today's episode, I have Tarek 𝐼𝐸. He is somebody who I met in the comedy scene around a year ago, and I'm just vibing so hard with him. And I was like, you need to come on the show because his journey is so interesting. So this is going to be more of a microbiography and storytelling episode of how he has done what he's done with his life. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So if people should tune into this episode, what would you want their takeaway to be in like?
In life?
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
in everything?
Whatever pops into your head when I say that.
I mean, I come from very different backgrounds and what I've done and everything. And the thing I've found to be the most compelling that I've taken away is just finding something you're willing to kind of, study, to work for, to like, because that's what you're going to excel in. Anything you're kind of passionate about, anything you actually like to do when you don't have to do it. That's the stuff that kind of is going to keep you motivated and like energized in the morning and going after life and things like that. So find something that you want to be a geek for.
So let's start with the past, right? So what's the first memory that pops into your head from your childhood? And then we can just run from there.
From my childhood?
Yeah.
Crap. First one that comes into my head now is being on the beach with my family.
Okay. I love that.
My dad's a very like athletic kind of guy. So he was a gymnast back in his day.
Oh.
So at the beach was always like competition of like jumping off this and doing that. So
Did you participate in any gymnastics as well, or was it just through blood?
It was through blood.
Okay.
It was through
Cool. I love that.
But yeah, so like my childhood was always like this competitive, let's see if we can jump off this and like dive off that and like cartwheel here
And how nimble, like, is it nimble? How nimble were you? Like, did you, yeah, like, did you injure yourself doing any of that?
God,
okay, I was like, it sounds like you guys would have also hung out at the beach and the ER. Like,
it was less nimble. It was more just like how crazy were we?
and you're two brothers, right? So
And yeah,
okay, all right. I can't even imagine.
yeah.
I come from a family of all girls, so it's like so the opposite.
Yeah, my mom is like always like, guys, stop, yo, Tarek, stop, yo, what, stop, yo, Nadeem, stop. It's just always trying to like someone's jumping off of something or trying something new.
Oh my god.
And my mom grew up in a completely opposite house of like sitting at home and being scared of everything. So
Really? Oh my gosh.
so she had a roller coaster of it all.
Wow. And then, so what was your childhood like? What was school like for you? And, you went from being a doctor to a film director, which is such a big shift. So what was school like for you? And what did you study? And why did you decide to become a doctor?
School was fun. I loved school. I constantly participated like in the sports and, in all these things. And I got into theater early. It's like my dad's mistake. I wanted to do band because all my friends were like band, like playing trumpet and stuff. And dad's like, to be a good doctor, you should know how to present. So take theater. Didn't know that was going to be the demise of my whole medical career.
So, okay, your dad did gymnastics. Did he do that professionally?
No.
Was he a doctor?
No, my
did
dad.
Gymnastics?
No. Gymnastics and a dog. No, he was he just loved like all sorts of physical activity. Like my dad's like in his 70s now and goes to the gym more than I do.
I love that.
So he's like
lean muscle mass is the way.
Dude, he's the discipline in the family.
I love that.
Even like at some point we were like there was a war in Lebanon and we were all being lazy and like sleeping in. And my dad's like, guys, tomorrow 8 a.m. we'll all jog. And me and my brother were like, yeah, we'll go to that.
Okay.
8 a.m. he shows up, and my brother's friend was with me. He shows up at 8 a.m. He opens the shutters. It's like 5 minutes. We're like, yeah, okay. 5 minutes later, he comes in with 3 buckets of ice.
Oh,
ice
no.
water.
My mom has the exact same vibe. You've met
Really?
mom. Yeah.
Does
Mom?
she?
No, the ice. The ice.
Okay.
Not and also if she did wake us up, it was 4:30 in the morning.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like 8 a.m. You slept in? Yeah, slept in.
Loses.
What a luxury.
Failures.
Oh, wow. Okay. So then what did your dad do apart from professionally?
So he was an architect.
He's an architect.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So he was an architect. He worked with my mom actually.
Okay.
So he met my mom in in the airport. My mom was like in the she was an air traffic control. She was like forgot what she was doing. This was back in the day. Like she just got her first job and they met. And he was an architect, but she had a really good taste in like design and stuff.
Okay.
So as he was doing the architecture, she would like dabble in the design of things.
Okay.
And she started getting noticed from like the people he was working with. So then they ended up teaming up, and he was the architect of the project and she was the interior designer of the project. And she like just
I love that.
she formed the interior designer career. Just
your house must have been a vibe. Like
a vibe.
aesthetically.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
Do not touch.
Do not touch with a house full of 2 boys that jump off things.
Exactly.
That's
so
wild.
It was a lot of like tiptoeing around and like so that's what they did.
Okay, cool. And then what was school like for you?
It was fun. I started doing theater. I got into like all the sports. I loved like the sports and stuff.
Also, was this in Lebanon?
It was half in Saudi, half in Lebanon.
Okay, which half was which?
So first half in Saudi.
Okay.
I left when I was like 12. And then I moved to Lebanon.
Okay.
12 till high school.
Okay.
That's when like the pre-med really stuck. The medicine really stuck. My parents were like, you have good grades. Why wouldn't you do it? Look at
intelligent boy.
Look at these doctors. They are so respected. They are so nice. They are so. Don't you want that? And I'm like, you know what? If they think it's cool, it must be the way. And like it was kind of like a thing. Like you have good grades. Why throw them away? Like it's like if you're doing anything else,
it's a waste. Yeah, and a way to give back to like the world.
Yeah, and like it was just such a highly respected thing. And I think my mom like's first crush was a doctor for sure.
Her pediatrician. She's
like,
my ankle starts.
But she was always like, yo, doctors are so good. Like, come on, like, look at this doctor. Isn't he so like so attractive and so this, so that? And I'm like, yeah, he is. I want that. Okay. So it kind of stuck with me, and it became this thing that like, if it's gonna make them happy, then like must be the thing to do.
Yeah.
So I stuck to it, and then I went to college in the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which part of the States were you in?
Boston.
Okay.
I went to Boston, and I lived like 3 separate lives. I was a pre-med student, like biology classes. I got into theater there by mistake.
Okay. But was this the theater that your father?
No.
Okay, so theater was in school.
Theater was in
Okay.
school. I just did like a few classes. And actually, it was weird. This is like the thing I was telling you earlier. Is like I did IB,
International Baccalaureate. Oh, it's so difficult. I remember hearing about that.
It was so useful.
No, thank you.
And they would say, a doctor has to take biology and chemistry.
Okay.
Your elective must be chemistry. But then, like, my friends were in theater, and I was like, oh, but like I want theater, but like I have to be a doctor, so I can't want theater. But it used to coincide with my free time, theater.
Oh.
So I would spend all my free time in the theater classes and like putting all my effort and like weekends and stuff into the theater classes.
Wow.
And it just kind of like stuck. But when I went to college, I was like, "Khalas, I'm gonna do pre-med. It's the way to go." But I needed to do a theater as an elective, and I was supposed to do like theater for biology students. But I walked into
theater for biology students.
Yeah, like theater for like the science kids. Basically, it's like take theater and like get your elective.
Oh, so just like to tick it off a list.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay,
so it's like a very basic course to get your arts credits, basically.
Okay.
But I walked
like, perfect.
Yeah, but I walked into the wrong class, and I didn't know until 3 weeks later.
Subhanallah.
Literally, I walked into the wrong class, and the first thing the teacher goes, didn't take roll or anything. He's like, "So you guys are all auditioning for the play tonight?" And I was like, "Oh man." He's like, "Come on, just go home, memorize a monologue, and like do it." I was like, "Listen, I'm just here for the credit." He's like, "Everyone's doing it." I was like, "What are these like biology students? Why are they all so in love with theater and like auditioning for the play? It's like the university play." I went home, I like memorized something, I went to the audition, and I completely fucked it up.
Okay.
Like, first line in, done. And then I was like, "Listen, guys, I'm sorry. My professor made me do this." And then the next day I get a call. I remember it was like making some chicken. And
making some chicken.
Making some chicken.
Some grilled chicken.
Literally, I swear to God, I was like college left, so like frozen fried chicken, just like.
Oh, okay. I can smell it.
It was good. It was so basic. Chicken and ketchup.
Delicious. Michelin.
Literally. I used to pour the ketchup like in circles just to make it like.
Oh wow! Oh my God! If you added an extra sauce, that's it. He'll be in Taste of Dubai.
And change careers. And then so I get a call back from the theater class being like, "Yo, you got the part. Like, come back for the callback." And I ended up going to the callback. I got the part. And 2 weeks later, I get an email from a professor being like, "Tarek, you might as well drop out of my class because you're failing." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I was like, "Who is this?" She's like, "Your theater professor." I was like, "No, this is my theater professor." She's like, "No, you're in this class." And I checked, and instead of going to room 337, I went to room 373.
Oh.
And that was acting advanced for theater majors.
Stop.
So I ended up, and then I told the professor, I was like, "Dude, why didn't you tell me?" He's like, "Oh, I don't really take role." And like, I was like,
it's like a bit creative.
Exactly. So I was like, shit. So I ended up switching back to the class, but I got into the play. So I got into that play, and then I started auditioning for every play after that. I got into every play. And then I was like, let me just minor in theater. And
did you tell your parents?
No.
Okay.
Once in the beginning, I told them, I was like, "Guys, as like a pre-med student, it might actually be beneficial to major in theater and minor in biology."
Your parents are intelligent with what they do. What do you think?
That's my mom's like, "Hey, you want to major in theater? And ever come here to Beirut and major at your house?" I was like, "Okay, I'm kidding, Mom."
Oh my gosh.
But I ended up doing the minor in theater, and like my college experience, I was just thinking on like the way here that like I remember 0 of my biology classes.
You wouldn't remember them.
All of my theater classes.
Yeah.
That was like what I think about when I was in college. So like that grew my like passion for theater and like creativity and like just people making shit. Like before, it was never a case like when I was studying biology and like biology classes, it was always like, oh, study, get the good grades, and like move on.
Yeah,
Here,
it feels like you're on autopilot and there's no spontaneity and fun, and it doesn't like make your blood go.
it's not just like the spontaneity; it's your input.
Mm-hmm.
You memorize this, answer these questions, and you'll be good. You know, when I saw like theater people, like, and I would, in one of the plays, I like suggested to do something. He's like, oh, perfect. Yeah, do that. I was like, wait,
I can just do stuff?
yeah. I was like, I can just like put up my suggestion. I can just add an idea.
Oh.
He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Can I do this as well? I was like, no, calm down, man. Let's not do it. Let's not go crazy.
It's like, I'm about to jump off the walls. I did this with my brother when I was at the beach.
But it was because it was great. Like I never had the concept of your ideas are valuable. You know, it was always like study other people's work and
Yeah.
ideas, memorize them, take the tests, and spew them out. So for me, it was never like what I'm saying or my ideas will actually be valuable. So when I saw that in college and like in theater and like these just my friends doing it, creating like short little series and stuff, I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Like I felt so alive. I felt so alive on theater stages and like contributing to these ideas, and just what's in here is important. I felt more valuable,
Okay.
you know, as a person. What's in here is important, you know, is actually can change, can add value to the world. So yeah.
Was there any part of theater that you weren't vibing with?
I mean, they put you through everything. So like it's to do like the theater man, and you have to do like the set design and like the acting and the writing, and I liked it all.
You liked all of it?
I liked
Okay.
it all.
So there was never a part of you when you were doing theater, because with biology, I can relate to that. And I feel like a lot of people can understand the monotony and like the boredom in it that can come from it.
Yeah.
But was there anything at all that you were just like, or any moment where you're like, don't know how else to explain that in words other than that sound effect.
No, I get you. I got the in the beginning when I first started the theater class, especially with like the acting 3, the professor would like give you like these weird prompts, like, you know, like get on the floor and pretend like and I was standing in the corner like, ugh, so dumb. Like I just gotta pretend. But everyone else was so into it that I looked like the dumb one.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, like, so like in that, like I was like, oh, like I don't do this like stupid, like play along type, you know, just let me act. And then when they're all doing these stupid movements and like, I don't know what, and me trying to be like, oh no, I don't do this, I look like the idiot. You know, I look like the outsider and like such a loser, you know, like I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And so that initially was kind of a barrier. And then when like at some point I was like, fuck it, let me just go
Try.
into it.
Yeah.
And it was that's the feeling that I loved, is I just let go. And like I was able to do this, and like I was, you know, like I just gave into that like theater and acting and just pretending impulse, and I loved it much more than it. So my theater class became something I was so excited to do, because it was somewhere I could like energize, you know, and be myself and be free and express myself. And then I go to biology class and I'm sitting like,
Yeah.
and then I go to theater class and it's loud and like I'm sharing and I'm talking, and you know, it kind of like brought out the part of me that I liked, you know. So it like kind of like the levers of you know, and theater, just whenever I was there, I felt the most me, and I liked that version of me the most out of all the lives or things I was doing, and like groups of friends I had, or, you know, personalities I had. That was like my favorite taught it to be in that sense. So it was a good relationship.
I love that for you. So how many years were you in the States, and then what did you end up graduating with?
I was in the States for 5 years, 4.5. My college was 4 years of studying and 1 year of work
Okay.
experience. So I graduated with a biology major and a psychology minor and a theater minor. And so the 4 years I did like the normal stuff. And then half a year, 6 months, I did research, and it was bored out of me. And I realized, I was like, this is what medicine is, it's like research and like, and so the second 6 months, I was like, let me do something that's more active, more hands-on. So I moved to Peru for 6 months, and I was working in like underprivileged hospitals in the middle of nowhere.
That must have been so rewarding.
That was crazy. It was ridiculous because they let you do anything. They're like, oh,
you can jump off the wall.
I wish. But no, like they'll be like, all right, like patient came in, like give him a shot, and I'm like, I've never given someone a shot. They're like, oh, it's easy to do. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's just. And so like I got like hands-on experience. But it's also like some of the hospitals were like really bad compared to like like I was cleaning a patient's wound in like the ER, and I felt something on my leg, and there was a wild dog that just walked in, and he was trying to jump on like the wound. And so half of me was like kicking the dog away.
What?
The other half of me was cleaning. I was like, yo, shoo. I was like, está bien, shoo. It's okay. And I'm cleaning this guy's fucking wound.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. So it shows like this whole like contrast. But that was like also a huge kind of growth moment for me. I just moved to this Spanish-speaking country that I didn't know anyone.
Did you speak Spanish at all?
Not zero, but I took like one class.
Okay.
I got there. I was like, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Do you speak French when you were in Lebanon?
No.
Okay, so none of it. You didn't have that like foundation.
I just had the bonjour,
Bonjour.
and then they'd be like, ¿cómo ça va? I'd be like, that's where it stops.
Exactly. That's how I am with Arabic. I'm like, finish.
Khalasan is the limit. But I actually picked it up there.
Yeah, because you have no choice.
I became fluent. I was living with a local family, like a Peruvian family.
Okay.
That spoke zero English. So like on the dinner table, it was never like, hey, Kenan, like I couldn't even say pass the salt. ¿Qué? I'd be like, la salta, give to me. It's just like, ¿qué? So I'd have to actually go and like study Spanish.
Yeah.
And like I took Spanish classes, and like I befriended my Spanish teacher, and I would go out with him and his friends. And then by the end, I was like conversations.
I
was
love that.
talking to a woman. I remember I was in a taxi, and the guy was asking me, where are you from? I was like, Lebanon. He's like, oh, ¿dónde está Lebanon? I was like, it's in the Middle East. ¿Dónde está Middle East? I was like, and it's full of Israel, is the Peru. I was like, above Israel. And then he's like, oh, Israel. I was like, no. And then for the rest of the time, there was like 15 minutes before I got home, I explained to him the whole like Israeli-Palestine conflict.
Oh.
And then I got out of the car. I was like, was that all in Spanish?
What? And that's what I was thinking. I was like, did he explain such an intense?
It was so intense. And I got out. I was like, was that all in Spanish? I was like, okay, well done. And so I picked up Spanish super quick, but then I lost it super quick.
Yeah.
If
you're not in the environment and you don't practice it, you don't use it, you lose it.
Even in the hospital, I was like talking to patients in Spanish. So my first words in the medical world were in Spanish.
Huh.
So like when we were talking about like liver cirrhosis or whatever in med school, I was like, oh, that's a liver. I forgot what it was now.
Yeah.
But like that was the first kind of vocabulary for me.
Okay.
Medical Spanish. So yeah, and then after that, I got into med school in Lebanon, and I moved to Lebanon.
Okay. And then how long was med school there?
4 years.
Okay, that's a lot of
such
a long time. Mom wanted me to become a vet like her, and when I researched it, it just said minimum of 7 years.
But that's like, after the college. That's with college.
Yeah, that's I think you get your bachelor's or something.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you want your master's, then you have to do another couple of years. I was like, that's at least a solid decade of money going one way. That's how I saw it. I was like, no, it's too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then so then you came back to Lebanon, and then you're doing med school. How was that experience shifting back? Did you also do theater there?
I did, but on my second year, I did.
Okay.
My first year was crazy because like I moved from living in the States, alone or like with a roommate.
And a Spanish, like a Peruvian family.
And a Peruvian family.
Yeah,
But I left like, just that freedom and that like, the culture and everything to like living back home with the parents, studying in the library like consistently in a very Lebanese culture of studying. It wasn't, the Lebanese culture of studying is very different than like an American culture studying.
What is it like?
It's memorizing.
Okay.
It's literally like I would ask someone something, and then when I first got there, I was like, yeah, I understand the concept. That's all it is. I took my first test, and I was like, oh, I don't understand the concept. Because they would ask you questions that is so specific to the textbook. So like after the test, I was like, yo, what you guys put for number, question number 3? They'd be like, oh, that was on page 6 of... So they would memorize.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they would memorize things like that, and so they became so good at just spewing information. So the first year was just literally just so much information, kind of like, they say it's like a fire hydrant, like trying to drink water out of a fire hydrant. In the second semester, my friends came from like abroad, and they're like, oh, so what you been doing? I was like, I've just been studying. They're like, what else? I was like, that's it. It's been like studying for the past like 8 months, like going out, doing it. I was like, no, dude, I've just been studying, and I hated it. I felt so like restrained. I felt like all this growth I had in the States and Peru and whatever, was
like you had to be put back in a box.
I was put back in a box, and like, especially in med school, was a very like, I was a very big like outcast of med school. I was so loud. I was like, come back from the States. I was like,
I relate.
yeah,
I relate.
You
so
relate.
hard.
You relate.
Yeah, it's like if both of us are in class, both of us have showed up, and by class I mean like the comedy workshops we do. Yeah.
You hear us from outside.
Yeah, it's like we're in the parking, and it's like they're arrived.
They're here. But yeah, so it became like this thing that I needed like an outlet kind of thing. I remember there was one time I realized that like I hadn't watched a movie in so long, and like I love movies and I love theater and I love all this stuff. And I watched the movie, and I was blown away. It was so simple, but like I watched this movie, and I just for 2 hours I wasn't thinking about the tests or the memorizing, and I loved that feeling. And I loved that feeling, and I was like, I miss movies. So I started watching more and more movies, and I realized how much I missed the theater. So I started auditioning for like student performances in theater. I did like 2 or something, and they were like, they thought I was so weird. They're like, why, you are doing theater? What about your tests? What about medical school? I was like, yeah, I'm doing it like on the side. They're like, oh, that's so weird. No, why do you? But anyway, it took up a lot of time, the theater, because I had to go to rehearsals of like practice and memorize. Like they would see me in the library, they're all like studying, and I'm outside just like, and this and that, like, like practicing my role.
I actually see it in my mind's eye.
And they're all like, what is this guy who came from Boston? He's so
weirdo.
Strange. But then from there, I realized, I was like, you know what, let me like maybe do movies, act in other people's movies. I started like watching these like short films, and I was like, how are they allowed to make these things, I was like, if they can, write something like that, I was like, let me try. And so I took a little course in writing, and I started to love it. I started writing more and more and more and more and more and more. And I started acting in some short films, and then just like this love of filming grew, and I wrote like 4 to 5 short films. I shot 2 short films during medical school. Any project that came up, I would somehow turn it into a film project. Like even in med school, they'd be like, oh, you need to present your case about this. I was like, oh, let's make a movie, guys. That's like,
wow. So you're able to do med school plus this. So like you can handle a lot, because you're doing so much more than.
But that's what I realized. Like in med school, like I would be exhausted in med school, and then I would come home and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna write. I'm going to create now. I'm going to like, so it felt like this other world that I was getting into that energized me, that like gave me this push. And I was reading so much about writing and filming that in my head, I was like, yo, imagine like this was your job. and you're absorbing so much knowledge. Like otherwise I would be like a med student, and on my free time I'd be reading about medical books and like diseases, and that would make me better and I was like, imagine on my free time I'm enjoying reading about film and studying about film. Imagine that was my career, and I'm also working that, like it would be a self-perpetuating type thing, and I just love doing it. So like I found myself in my free time, like even in the hospital, we're working in clinics at some point, white coat, sitting, dealing with patients. I would clock out at like 6 or like 7, and I would go act in a student short film from like 9 p.m. to like 3 a.m. Finish, come back the next day, sleep, shower, put on the white coat, talking with patients. Then I'd go on and act in another student short film. So I was like hustling for this certain thing, and I was like, damn, like if I'm hustling for it, I must really like it.
Yeah. That's a commitment. You did that for nearly a decade.
And like I didn't have to.
No, you didn't.
I didn't have to.
You could have just stuck to medical school and that was it.
And I could have read about medicine and like improved that, but it just didn't give me that like energy. And I realized I was losing the energy, and I was losing that version of myself that I told you I liked was, and I became this other version of myself, and I was like, oh, he's so boring. Sucks. Like, it's like in a relationship, but like when you're dating someone who sucks, they make you suck.
Yeah, that's so true.
And like,
that's for the next episode because we're shooting 2.
So, and when you're with someone that energizes you, know, and that brings out that side of you that you actually like. And I think you like someone more because they make you like you. Yeah, they make you like yourself more.
Yeah.
And they bring out a version of you that you like more. So that was my relationship with like creativity and medicine and all that stuff. So eventually I was like, guys, I'm not doing this anymore. I tried to convince my parents at the beginning. I was like, guys, I really don't want it. They're like, what? But you studied for so long and this, and like they kind of like flipped out. I was like, fine, I'll do it, but like I'm not gonna be happy. And I kept trying to like have checkpoints of guys. They're like, no, they just like kind of flip out.
The longer you're in it, they're like, what a waste of an investment.
Exactly.
Right?
So I tried that in the beginning. They're like, it's already a waste of an investment. I got 4 years into it. And I would try to do those checkpoints. They're like, no, it'll waste. At the end, I was like, you know what? Like, you guys, no one is seeing what I'm going through. No one is feeling what I'm feeling. No one is going to, when I'm alone, no one knows what's going on, So even from the outside, you're saying your son is a doctor and you're happy, but is your son happy? Being that, is your son, like when all is said and done, and say, your parents are not here anymore. Your son is still doing that to make you happy, but is he happy? You're not even there to...
That's the biggest question.
You're not even there for him to make you happy anymore, but like, is this guy happy? And it got to me a point when I saw that, no one's really going to care for my happiness other than myself. No one's going to be like, I have friends who are like, med school sucks, but it's cool, man. You're going to be a doctor. And I was like, that's not what's going to make me, happy in the end. And I realized no one's going to find my happiness other than me.
So you graduated from med school though. You finished that. Okay. And then?
And then, and then I joined.
That can be theatrical.
Yeah. Do it. I'll follow your lead. And then I joined a consulting firm.
Okay.
Strategy consulting.
And this is in Lebanon?
This is in Dubai. That's how I moved.
Okay, so that's how you moved to Dubai. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I moved to Dubai, and I showed my parents, listen, medicine's not making me. I was applying to specialties in medicine, to emergency medicine, and at the same time I started hearing about consulting, healthcare consulting, and I started speaking to more people. I applied to it, and I got it, and I showed my parents.
What year was this?
2016.
Okay.
16, 17, around then. And I got in, and I was like, listen, guys, if I specialize, I didn't have an American passport or anything, so the path was gonna have to be, if I want to get like American board certified, I would have to do like 2 years of research in Lebanon to get that extra experience to compete with people who are applying to like American universities, Americans residencies. So I was like, listen, the options are I'm gonna be living for like peanuts of a salary, still at home for the next 2 years, and then have to apply and specialize for another 5 years, also making peanuts of a salary until I actually, and I was like, or this is my salary from consulting right now in Dubai. And they're like, oh, it's nice.
You're still a doctor.
You're still,
Fine.
dude, I swear to God, she's like, but wait, يعني, I can still call you doctor?
I know, that's why when you said that, I was like, as long as you give that title, because titles are so important in the Arab society.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's draining.
Yeah, my mom was like, dude, no.
And you're like, yes, mama.
There was a bit in my special that I go, like, she got like, I tell her like, خلاص, like I'm out. She's like, but Tariq, يعني, we are not a doctor anymore. I was like,
your mom sounds so cute.
we? Well, what are you talking about? Like, I'm the one who like suffered in medical school and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, yes.
Yeah, but she birthed you.
Exactly. Oh,
So we,
exactly.
in caps.
In caps,
Yeah.
like, we are the doctor, all right? So I was like,
She's
what?
a
Yeah.
doctor. She's an interior designer. Done.
Everything.
Oh my God. I love it so much.
So she was, in the end, she kind of saw that, like, it was making me happy and stuff. And like, it still comes up in every conversation. But like, it's more toned down.
Okay. And then how was like, first of all, what is healthcare consulting? Because I know a lot of friends that are in consulting, and to this day, I don't know what they do.
They don't even know what they do. It's you go in and you fix problems, basically. You go in from an outsider's perspective, you study whatever it is, and you fix a problem. So my benefit was that I worked in the hospital. I worked within the healthcare system, like, hands-on. So I was an asset when they would be like, we want to make this hospital more efficient. How can we do it?
Oh, okay.
A normal consultant would be like a 23-year-old business grad, who just joined, who would like have to research and study and whatever. I was in it, so I'd be like, doctors do 1, 2, 3. And so this is delaying the system. Like I did a big project where they want to restructure the whole organization and hierarchy of doctors. Who do we need for this doctor? What type of specialties? What kind of hierarchy? How much should we pay them? So I went in and I was doing that. But I remember one of like the first days I was there and I was like doing my onboarding, and some girl comes up to me. She's like, Tarek, we need you. There's a healthcare issue like over there. And I was, oh, they need the doctor. I took off my jacket and I'm following her. She's like, where? She's like, just follow me. Putting off my sticks. What's this going to be? Like some guy who has like a heart attack, CPR. And I bust into the room. I was like, yo, what's going on? And they're all chilling around a table. They're like, oh, Tariq, we just have a question for this slide.
No.
On the healthcare issue for hospitals. And I was like, so no one's dying? We're good? They're like, yeah, it was just a healthcare issue on the slides. I was like, okay.
Wow. You were so ready.
I was so ready. But you just have like, it's such a weird shift to go from, two different worldviews of like what's important and stressful for a job. Like I remember the manager came up to me after like 2 months. He was like, Tari, when you first joined, it's really weird. I was like, why? He's like, you were smiling all the time, cracking jokes. And like, we were in the middle of like deadlines. I was like, yeah, why was that weird? And like, was the work bad? He's like, the work was great, but like, why were you so happy?
Why were you so happy?
Why were you not stressed? I was like, listen, dude, I just came from a career where like stress was, is this guy going to die?
Yeah.
In front of me?
Yeah.
And then when I shifted here, you were like, oh no, the orange of this slide is not the same as the orange of the slide. The client's going to go crazy. And I was,
okay.
And I would literally laugh. I'd like, oh yeah, okay. And then like, I was like, oh, you're serious? Okay. And then eventually, like, what's crazy is when you're surrounded by that so often, that stress does become your stress.
Yeah,
3
yeah.
months later, I'm like, oh no, the orange, not the orange, the slide numbers and this and that.
Oh wow. Yeah. It's
Adapt.
it's like, you know, that rotten fruit in the basket. It's like it spreads regardless. Yeah.
But you adapt to whatever stress is around you. And so that was like the weirdest shift between the two.
Wow. And then how long did you do consulting for?
4 years
Okay.
till COVID.
Okay. And then COVID happened. How was that?
Fun.
Coronavirus.
Fun. It was interesting because right before COVID, I remember I was still reading a lot about like writing and like movies and short films and my brother saw me like doing that. He's like, dude, like, are you gonna make something? I was like, yeah, eventually. He's like, listen, if you're not gonna make anything, stop wasting your time reading about this. Do something with it, you know, or don't.
What does your brother do?
My brother was also kind of like all over the place. He started out as an architect.
Okay. Followed in Baba's footsteps.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And then moved into business and like selling insurance, I think, or like as a broker. And then he opened a few like clubs and restaurants in Lebanon.
Okay.
And then he got out and joined an events management company in Dubai.
Okay.
So we both started well. My brother was an architect, I was a doctor, and my parents were proud. And then both like open nightclubs, what? Theater, exactly.
Okay. So and then did you guys move to Dubai around the same time? Because I know he's here.
Yeah, he moved here, I think, 1.5 years after me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That must have been nice to have him around.
No, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Like Dubai became a place that, I mean, Lebanon was just, it was hard to live there. A lot of people were leaving. Work there was like really bad. And so when I moved to Dubai, I started making like some close friends. And then a lot of my other friends started moving to Dubai, and my brother moved to Dubai. And actually, so my older brother is a half brother. He's a brother from another mother.
Okay.
Brother from another mother. And he, I was never really close to him, like, for a lot of my life. And then while my middle brother moved, they're like, let's just all get a place together.
Oh, in Dubai.
In Dubai.
Gorge.
And it's been, and I haven't lived with either of them, like, for the prior, like, 12 years. I've never lived with the older one.
Okay.
He's 15 years older than me. So, like, I've never kind of, like, lived with him.
And he was already here, or
He was already
moving?
here.
Okay.
He was banking and like big shot. And so when I moved here, and my middle brother, he's like, let's just all move in together. And I was like, bro, I haven't lived with you in forever. And we used to fight.
I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah. So all three of us, so at some point, like, I was like, you know what, screw it, whatever.
Okay.
And all three of us moved in together, and we got this big place, and it was so fun because, like, you know, we only lived together as kids, and then we moved in together as like adults. And the older brother I've never lived with before, and like we were never really close before.
Yeah.
And then here we just all like just chilled together, like got close together, and I don't know what.
I love that.
And then Corona hit, and luckily, like, we chose to kind of like live with each other because I would have went crazy.
It's helpful to be around somebody during that time.
So helpful. So helpful.
As you're with family at the end of the day, so alhamdulillah.
Exactly. So I trust them, you know, like the people I was living with and stuff. So it was an enjoyable experience, like for what it was. You know, I had friends who were living alone who were going crazy, you know. And this, you know, I had the support of my brother's girlfriend at the time, who's now married, and a parrot. We had
A parrot?
a parrot living at home.
Oh my gosh. What type? African gray?
Pink.
Oh, like the... Is
Pink.
it...
It's like pink and gray.
Oh, it's pink and gray. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And we initially had a good relationship, me and the parrot.
So you were fine with your brothers, but you had beef with the parrot.
I had beef with the parrot. The parrot was a piece of shit.
Only you.
The parrot was such a... Because we were both talkers. Me and the parrot, none of us would shut up. And And like, so it got competitive. Who would speak more and who would speak to the others?
Are you being serious?
I swear to God. The parrot was a piece of shit. Like, we'd be watching movies. And initially it would be like, my brother and his girlfriend like sitting together. And then like me and the parrot. Like we're homies at first. And then the parrot bit me. Like
was it, did it like roam free? Did it have an open cage?
It would have a cage, but also like it would roam around.
Okay, nice.
So it actually did this thing. Like I'd be working, and it wouldn't fly around. It would walk around the house.
Yeah.
Like,
and they have like a swag about them.
They walk like it's kind of like an old man with their hands behind their back.
Yeah.
And they just kind of walk like this. And then when he wants to lick at me, he comes like this. He goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be on a call, and I just see like the door was here, and I would just see a parrot walking across. The hall would just chick, 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 and then like it would come next to my foot, and just, and it looks at me like it's paying rent.
It is.
It's looking at me like
with entertainment.
Exactly. It's looking at me like
supervisor of the house.
What are you doing? You're working good.
You're working. You're talking. You're making noise. You want me to?
You want me to step in?
You want any input?
But it'd be hilarious. Also, I'd be on calls. I'd be like,
that slide is the wrong shade of orange.
I told you. And it would fly around. Like I remember I was on a call with working like with government people in Saudi. I'd be on a call. They'd be like, guys, let's open the cameras. And I'd literally have Poncho on my head.
I love it.
Like just sitting there, like open. I was like, guys, really don't want. Like, let's just not. No. And I'd open it, and there's a bird going like just like looking into the.
They'd be like, we love your COVID filter.
Oh yes, it's fake.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I think COVID, like right before COVID, is so when my brother was telling me, he's like, dude, like you wanna do something with your filming, do something with it. I was like, you know what, that's true. Let me see what I can do. I was walking in to buy a mall, and I saw a cheap camera, and I was like, you know what, let me buy it. Let me like.
Was it the GoPro?
No, this was right before the.
Okay, no, okay. Because I remember seeing a post you made about the GoPro and.
No, the GoPro I had for like travel.
Okay.
But this was like the first like camera like that I bought. And I took some course. I took like a course, and then COVID hit. And so then I was stuck at home with this camera and all these ideas I had. And I was like, let me just, there's nothing to do on the weekends, let me just try to like make some stuff. So I started making some stuff with that camera. And then my brother's girlfriend's an influencer, wife now. An influencer, and she's like, oh, I need to do this post. I was like, oh, I learned this like editing trick. And so I do that for her brand, and her brand's like, oh, that's awesome, that's really cool, who did this? I started doing it more and more for her, and the brand, then she'd be like, oh, it's my boyfriend's brother. And then her friends are also influencers. They're like, oh, can he do it for us?
Nice.
And she's like, and I was like, yeah, sure. And so I do it for her friends, and then the brands would be like, yo, who's doing that? She's like, oh, my best friend's boyfriend's brother. I was like, guys, I have a name. I can't just be.
They'd be like, it was the parrot all along. It wasn't even you. You were getting all the input from Poncho.
He's controlling me like fucking Ratatouille.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even you.
Ratatouille.
That needs to be your next movie.
The next one, huh? And then so eventually a brand was like, hey, like we'll pay you to do this. I was like, you'll pay me?
Wow.
I was like, sure, let's do it. And eventually I started doing it more with my brother, and we decided to start a company just for fun to accept payments.
Okay. And this is the company that you're with now, that you started. Okay. What's it called? Give it a plug on Press Pause.
So it started off as 𝐼𝐸 Brothers.
Okay.
Because we were doing content like the both of us, and we were acting in it, and like, it became kind of a thing like that. And we got a big contract with 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐸𝐻𝐸 actually.
Oh, nice.
And it was a yearly contract, and I had taken a sabbatical. And in January, the HR called me, and she was like, Tarek, خلاص, it's like 6 months off. We need you to come back. Are you coming back or not?
Ooh.
And I was standing there, and I was like, I remember I was walking in the mall. I was like, you know what? I don't think so. I just needed her to say, Tarek, are you crazy? Come back. And I probably would have.
And she didn't.
Not only did she not, she goes, hell yeah, 𝐸kid don't come back. I love what you're doing. Don't even think of coming back. I was like, wait, what? No. Tell me to come back. She's like, no, I love what you're doing. I follow you. It's awesome. Go live your dream. I don't know what. I was like, okay.
Did you cry in the mall?
I almost did because I was like, I swear, she was like the last barrier I needed to just put some sense into me and like taught it.
And sometimes it takes somebody that you're not very close to to tell you that, you know?
She's like, go for it, not in what. And then I was like, you know what? Let me do it for a year. Let me see like what happens. Okay. Max, I can just go back to consult. Unless I didn't like my company back then anyway. So I was like,
we won't plug them.
But both ways, I was like, I wanted to try like other companies anyway. So I was like, both ways, I'll try it for a year and then I'll like see where it goes.
What year was this? 2021 maybe?
21.
Okay.
Exactly. So I started like the content in like 2020 and then 2021 in January is I think when I left.
Okay.
When I like officially left the company. I'd been on sabbatical for I don't know how long. But yeah, so I left that and then my brother and I just started doing more and more content for brands and like we had this very outsider's perspective of like not a marketer, but we're like how can this just be like a fun piece of content with like a smart message. And by then I had been like studying writing and creativity for the past like 15 years since college. And I remember,
and that was something you were doing yourself, so you were self-taught.
Yeah. Okay. So all needs, and I remember I was like trying to do this like editing trick, and I checked YouTube and I found it saved from 2015, an editing trick when I was still in medical school, when I had never touched a camera. I was so in love with it back then that I was studying editing, and I didn't even know how to edit. And so it was just all this knowledge was just building up and this passion was building up.
Yeah, it was marinating.
It was marinating.
Like your chicken.
Let's say that's marinating. That's just deep fried in ketchup. But so it all just kind of like culminated and we came at it from a very outsider's perspective and started making more and more. And like it got like good recognition and then we just want to keep pushing it and create bigger and bigger productions. And eventually we just started like cutting our pay just to be able to build bigger productions. Okay. And then we just started stepping out of the acting of it and doing the strategy of it and the creative of it and directing it rather than like the actual being in it and acting in it. And so all my like experience of like strategy consulting, you know, like the frameworks and everything came into play. The studying of all the YouTube videos and technicalities came into play. All like my stories of life and crazy jumping off things and hospital thing, you know, it all came into play. And like I just had been studying creativity and like I was studying it like a science. You know, as like a doctor, you know, you think like I must study this to understand it to be better. That's how I approach it. Breaking down creative stuff and like just seeing how I can replicate that. And I developed this like creative touch, I think, in medical school as well, because life was so boring that my imagination was always on some next level.
I understand that.
Like even when I would take patient history, I would like, oh, like you have a cough, you have a this, you have a that, and then like I'd have a side panel for like quirks of the patient, like weird they would say or like something they would add. Like I remember this patient was like, doctor, like she kills me every time, and like she hurts. I was like, who's she? Oh, my knee, she kills me. And I was like, you know,
it's a male patient.
It's a male patient.
Okay, I had a feeling.
I was talking like I was like, what are you talking? Who's she, dude? She's like, oh, my knee. She hurts. Like she doesn't bend over. She doesn't. I was like, oh, yep. Okay, so here we're going. She's no longer flexible. And
okay, it's your knee.
It's your knee. Is that what we're calling her? And so I would just picture the patients and like the quirks and my imagination was just, you know, always constantly working. So kind of all just kind of leaned into this this job I was doing, and this like directing and coming up with stories, and I started doing it from a very strategic point of view. It's like it was like creativity with a purpose type of thing.
I love that.
Which was
that
very,
needs to be like a slogan. There needs to be a T-shirt.
creativity with a purpose.
Yeah, I like it. I'm gonna write it down. I want to know what Mama said about this career shift.
This career shift.
Yeah, like what? We are no longer a doctor.
We are no longer.
We are entrepreneurs.
Listen, it wasn't such. It was a shift. It was a slow.
Yeah, it was what, like 15 years of you very slowly, like, you know, testing the waters, and then you took the sabbatical. And
no, the 15 years was just me on the side. I don't think she had like any idea about,
okay
of like that. She was like,
well,
he
didn't know you were majoring in that. In the
yeah.
States. Oh yeah,
She
never
was
mind.
just like, you know, like, oh, he's just, you know, oh, he likes movies, woohoo, you know.
Yeah.
But then when we started like posting on social media and we started like gaining a following and stuff, I hadn't left my job yet then. So she's like, what is this you're doing? I was like, oh, it's just like something we're creating for like brands. She's like, oh, it's nice. It's nice. I was like, okay, cool. And then like her friends would start following us. And so she's like, oh, my friend Raghda sent me this. Kind of nice. I was like, okay, cool. And so there was this like social
like she was gaining like
credibility in a way. Like she was seeing it on
but she doesn't have to go out, like with this they see it versus her saying my son is a doctor.
Yeah,
you know.
So, the doctor thing, she's like, all right, and this is not coming back. Okay. How else can I, you know?
But what did she say when you quit? Like this?
Yeah.
What? Give me the sauce, man. Give me the tea.
I think she had already used up all her smacks after the medicine. Okay. So with this one, it was the two things I think that she liked in this was, one was that she was actually seeing the work. She was actually entertained by it. You know, she's actually like, oh, I loved what you did, and like it was funny, and like I don't know what, and you know, her friends would send her the stuff, so it was gaining kind of that part of her. And then on the other side of things, it was me and my brother working together. You know, it's like, oh, we both went through these careers, and it was like, oh, you know, they're working together now. You know, they're like a team, and like, you know, her and my dad were a team.
Oh, nice.
And so so she kind of saw like. She liked that camaraderie and that whatever. And then when we started the company and I was like, listen, it just kind of slowly got to the point until I told her I quit. I think was like maybe 3 months after I quit, or like a bit after that, just so it built up a little bit. And then she's like, you know what? All right, cool. Like, see where this can go. And honestly, they've been like super down and supportive, and they loved seeing the creativity and the camaraderie between me and my brother, and just seeing us grow and start our own thing and our own company. And so it had its own benefits. It had its own kind of credibility in a sense for her.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a full circle moment, because at the beginning you were like, but are they going to be happy for me when they're no longer here?
Exactly.
You know, and now they're here to see that. So that's beautiful.
I think they grew like with us, you know, like we grew, they grew, and you know, it became less of like the parent-kid relationship, and more like, you know, what's like they saw us happy, you know, they could visibly see it when we're shooting stuff, when we're whatever, they could visibly see that happiness, and they could see that we were doing good stuff. So in their heads, they're like, all right, cool. He's not going to be the doctor anymore. Let's get that out of our head. But this is like, you know, it's a company. It's making money. It's, you know, it's its own thing. So, so I think they were happy with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Not, I think. I feel like there's a certainty in that.
Yeah.
I love that. And what do you visualize for the future with this? Because AI is coming into the picture. Go. I'm like, I don't even have a question. I'll just put keywords.
It's interesting because when I first started in the filmmaking, and like I said, you know, we want to do bigger and bigger productions.
Yeah.
We needed more budget. We need people to pay for it. We needed to, and we always held on to our creative ideation. now with AI and all these things happening with a click of a button, it really brings the skill back to the creative. Because now anyone can create a monster walking across, can create Hollywood level of VFX, or everything looks nice, everything is whatever. So when everything looks nice, nothing looks nice. Nothing stands out anymore.
Yeah.
Because before it was like, all right, to make it look nice, you need a cameraman, you need lighting, you need the sound, you need a good editor, you need this whole team to build that one thing, and that'll stand out from anyone who can't do it. That looks big budget.
Yeah.
Now everything looks big budget.
Yeah.
Everything looks nice. Everything looks ridiculous. So it comes to the point when everything looks nice, what are you going to resonate with? A good idea.
Exactly.
Use the niceness, create something nice. But you can now do it. But now the things that'll stand out is a good story, good ideas, good kind of thinking. It brings all that technical aspect to the creative. So now the creative who before needed to hire a director, a writer, a videographer, a lighter, an editor, can now, and that was his bottleneck. So he wouldn't execute because, khalas, I need all this. Now he doesn't need all that. He still has a creative, but now he has this tool where it's a click of a button and he can bring that creative to life without everyone else. So it comes down, I think it's going to trickle down to who can be the most creative, the most human story, like more of a human storyteller, bring out moments, bring out like these little human things that a computer can't,
Exactly.
and that's what I think it's going to come down to. Lots of content now it looks nice, but it's just cold. It's just like,
And I almost look for imperfection so I know it's a real video.
yeah.
Or a real picture,
That's what brands are doing now.
Yeah.
Brands are purposefully shooting things in like lower quality. They're making things in analog.
Okay.
So like, for example, the Apple logo when it comes on TV, it's normally an animation. What they did now was they actually built it. They built the animation using glass and lighting.
Okay.
So they built the Apple logo with a piece of glass and used different lighting to create that animation.
Oh, wow.
Instead of doing it on the computer. Because now that is bringing, that real feeling, that human feeling
an
to it.
authentic element.
Yeah. Like it could go wrong, and that's why I think people, even like now comedy. That's why I like comedy, because it's raw. It can go wrong. Something bad can happen. Someone can make you crack up. Someone can fail. Someone can...
And that's when you get the biggest laugh. Like, I remember I forgot something and I was like, clap so I remember. And everyone just like, that was my biggest clap. I was like, that is so rude. But authenticity and like real moments where you do falter, we're not striving for perfection anymore, which is nice.
And when people try to strive for perfection, like when someone tries to recreate a viral moment, it's so cringe. Because like the nice thing about the viral moment is they weren't trying to do something that was, that would get that attention. It was just them being authentic
in that moment,
completely in that moment. And like that goes, people like seeing those reactions. Some of the videos I watch the most are with like unexpected reactions, and that's what, even like with movies, that's what makes, I think, for me, a better performance is when someone is not acting. They would say it in a way that's like, oh, that's a person. They're not trying to show an emotion. They're not trying to show an action. They're just being their authentic selves. And this is what's happening, I think, across all media and across all entertainment, is people are trying to show the action rather than like actually be in it. So you just lose this like moment. Like movies are becoming lists. It's becoming a sequence of events, rather than like focusing on these small moments that like there's this thing a movie filmmaker was saying. It's like, if there's a movie about a war, don't make it about, the movie's not about, who wins this war and like the fighting. It's about the kid who lost his sock on the way to, you know, his family's. That's, you know, that's a story that you can relate to. That's a story that you can like, and we're not getting that anymore. We're getting these big stories and like nothing is personal, nothing is, so, and that's why I think the most human creatives are the ones who are going to survive, who are going to thrive, because they're observant. They're observant on like a moment that happened here that they can bring to life on screen. It's not like, oh, I went to school and this happened. It's like what happened between you and a person on the way there. Those are the things that like bring you in, like those silent moments kind of that I think we're losing.
What's your favorite movie?
I have a
You have
lot.
to pick one.
One?
One right now, other than Ratatouille.
Other than Ratatouille. Funny enough, whoa, that was loud. Funny enough, there was a movie that it's called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
And they have a scene in that where they make fun of Ratatouille, but it's a raccoon.
Okay.
And they call it Ratatouille? Or Ratatouille or something. But yeah, it's one of the movies that's like more recent that I think is phenomenal.
I need to watch it.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Because it's one of those movies that's so creative in every shot they have and in the storytelling and in the messaging and then in the emotion. Like, the movie's ridiculous. You watch it and you're like, what? I watched it like 6 times. The first time I watched it, I was like, what just happened? The second time I watched it and I was able to take in all the craziness, I was like, what just happened? I cried the second time. The third time, I saw like this other part of it. It has so many elements to it. That's like, it's one of the more recent movies that has made it to my top like 5.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Like all the other movies that I love are like the classics, you know, like The Godfather, the Pulp Fiction, the Snatch, the Truman Show, what else? I can go on. Like a list for me, like these movie lists are going. But this one is the one that surprised me the most, and like out of all the movies has, you know, made it to the top 10 recently.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you visualize for your future?
For my future, I don't know. This world's so weird.
The world is so weird.
The world's so strange. I don't even know what to think about anymore. For the future, I would visualize. Listen, I love comedy. I love the raw, authentic part of comedy. So I want to explore where that'll go
Okay.
with comedy.
You're going to keep signing up for the workshops?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
The only way is I'm forced to write.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Even though now we have one on Sunday and I'm not prepared at all, but like it forces me to like sit down and write and like, so I like that. I like that just the creative space is always, you know, seeing where movies can go, storytelling, ideas, you know, that's where the world I want to live in, or my world of, you know, keep giving value in the weird mind that I have. Share what's happening here, and like however I can do that and share that with the world, and hopefully that can, you know, make some people smile and make the world a little bit more tolerable for some people. Yeah.
I love it. I think that's a good way to close.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Press Pause family, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And here's a sneak peek for next week. You think you're a cat? I'm like, yeah, meow.
I love haters, because if I hated a hater, then I'd be a hater. And the one thing I hate the most is a hater. Find someone who's actually, you know, that fits you and that brings out the best version of you. It's also like in a relationship thing, it's like...
He's the first guest to fling as well. How dare... I got slapped.
By the monkey?
In the face.
One time I was really nice to myself and it was so weird.
I understand that.
It had
yeah.
like I said something to myself like I would say it to someone else and I was like, whoa. That felt so nice.
I'm very good at masking, and my therapist is telling me I need to stop making everyone feel comfortable.
When someone cannot accept that, kind of put their ego aside and, make
Own it.
amends. Own it. 9 months
Hold on. I don't know why live and let live keeps coming into my mind, and I don't live by it at all. I was so okay for everybody else to be okay. And I'm learning that it's okay for me not to be okay to be okay.
And so I look forward to time alone. I look forward to like those moments. Anyway, embarrassment is such an underrated
Feeling.
Saying nobody needs to know. She was saying the most vile on stage.